The roar of the cannons gradually died down, leaving only billows of black smoke rising from the ruined buildings. In April 1945, southern Germany fell into the final days of World War II. The once peaceful Bavarian town was now nothing but shattered streets and bomb-scarred walls.
In a damp basement of a field hospital, the flickering light of an oil lamp illuminated the pale face of James Carter, a 24-year-old American soldier from Ohio. He was seriously injured in a battle. Shrapnel lodged in his shoulder, causing him to lose a lot of blood, breathe heavily, and have a high fever. In his coma, James had no idea that the place he was taken to was not an Allied medical station, but a makeshift infirmary set up by the German army. Being carried in on a stretcher, Anna was momentarily stunned. He was the enemy, an American soldier, a symbol of the army closing in on every village, every town. But when she looked at his face, pale from blood loss, she saw only a human being, a life fading away. "You have to be strong. I will save you," Anna whispered, in her still clumsy English. James opened his eyes, his lips moving. "Why are you helping me? I am the enemy." Anna tightened the bandage. Her eyes were sad but strong. James was kept in the infirmary basement. The wound in his shoulder was throbbing, but thanks to Anna, the bleeding had stopped and his fever had gradually subsided. Every day, amid the sirens and distant bombs, Anna brought him a bowl of watery soup and a bit of dry bread, the meager food she should have kept for herself. On long, cold nights, she sat by his bed and read him some old Goethe verses, the pages of which were yellowed. James didn't understand them all, but he listened with all his heart. In return, he told of his home in Ohio, the endless cornfields, summer evenings with his family, and the sound of the banjo. They listened to each other, as if finding a glimmer of light in the darkness of war. One time, when holding James's hand to measure his pulse, Anna noticed that his hand was rough and had cracks from someone who was used to hard work. He smiled. "I used to work on the farm with my father. I thought I would go back there after the war." Anna bowed her head, her voice as small as the wind. "I wish I had a place to return to." There was a deep sadness in her blue eyes that kept James silent for a long time. Then the historic moment arrived. On May 8, 1945, Germany announced its unconditional surrender. The Bavarian city was filled with cheers and tears. German soldiers laid down their weapons. Many sat down exhausted in the streets. New flags fluttered in the air. The news of the victory reached the infirmary. The doctors and nurses were stunned, not knowing what would happen to them after today. James was found by his American comrades. They were preparing to take him back to the barracks, where his wounds would be more fully treated. James held her hand tightly, his voice choked. "If it weren't for you, I would probably be dead." "I don't know what to say." Anna smiled slightly, but her eyes were filled with tears. "Live, James. Live so that no one else has to suffer like this. That's the only thank you I can give you." Then James walked away. He didn't dare look back, afraid that he would be weak and stay. Anna stood still, her hand on her chest, where her heart was beating so hard it felt like it was about to burst. James was sent back to his unit and then shipped back to America. The wound on his shoulder gradually healed, but the wound in his heart remained. Many years later, when the war was only in history books, every time he sat on the porch looking at the wind-swept cornfields, he still remembered Anna's. Anna stayed in Germany, continued to work as a nurse, and later became a doctor in a small town. Her life was still devoted to healing, as if her love for an American soldier had never faded. They never met again, but in each person's heart, an unfinished love song still resonates. It doesn't need to be complete, it just needs to exist as a witness that even in hell on earth, human love can still blossom. The war ended, but that memory did not. It remained, silent and immortal, like a candle burning in the dark night, reminding humanity not to forget, before we were enemies, we were human. One time, when holding James's hand to measure his pulse, Anna noticed that his hand was rough and had cracks from someone who was used to hard work. He smiled. "I used to work on the farm with my father. I thought I would go back there after the war." Anna bowed her head, her voice as small as the wind. "I wish I had a place to return to." There was a deep sadness in her blue eyes that kept James silent for a long time.